Yes. Excuse me, let me cleanse my palate before we continue or start this wonderful journey. You guys ever tried putting lemon in your water? It's supposed to be a really good detox. You guys ever tried a detox? I tried a detox for the first week of January. I did it for 2 weeks. And it's basically dandelion tea, lemon in your water, warm glass of water in the morning, and a lot of vegetables and proteins too. It's almost like a keto, like a ketosis, but with a lot of like detox stuff. Oh, and also olive oil and lemon before you go to sleep. So all that's supposed to clean out the gallbladder and the liver and the pancreas and the kidneys. And let me tell you, it worked out good. On top of that, I lost like 3 pounds, 4 pounds, which on me is pretty good. So I don't know. I strongly recommend it. So yeah, killer intro in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, advocates, and welcome to another episode of the Commercial Claim Show. I'm your host, Vince Perry. Do I have it on my focus? Ah, look at that. You see? I like to do this on autofocus just because I don't have to deal with it, and I wasn't on autofocus, so hopefully it was okay. But anyway, so today is a special show. First of all, my name is Vince Perry. Again, I'm your commercial claims advocate. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me at Instagram. I won't let you down. A lot of good information. And obviously this wonderful YouTube channel that we have created here every Wednesday. Trying to put them out on midnight too, so we can get some of the Tuesday night crowd along with the Wednesday morning crowd or the Wednesday crowd. So today is a good one. Negotiation. That's right. It's a huge part of our business. I mean, it's like a massive part. It's what we do on a daily basis. I'll give you an example. Just on Friday, I was involved in a 4-hour negotiation. It was with the appraiser and with the umpire. And everything turned out great. And I'm going to get into some of these negotiating things. I have my style that I use, but I know I have people who are very close to. They have their own styles that they use, and they're vastly different, and they both work. So it really depends. I mean, I'm gonna get into all this stuff, but in my opinion, the most important person or the most important part of a negotiation is making sure that your client is happy. That's number one. And number two, frankly, you have to understand a lot of the people that you're going to negotiate up against, you're going to be negotiating with them again. So if you establish a good reputation, chances are you're going to walk away from most negotiations happy and relieved and with a satisfied client. If you develop a bad reputation, well then, and being unfair and unjust, then that's the reputation that you're going to end up with. So, you know, remember, number one is the client, but also number two is just understand the person you're going negotiating against. You're probably going to be negotiating with that person again. So, without further ado, I'm going to talk about a couple of things that I think are very important in the negotiating process and things that you should know when you are negotiating an insurance claim. So, number one of the things is know what you're trying to accomplish, okay? Make sure you are completely aware of what you're trying to accomplish. And what I mean by that is make sure, I like to already have a number in mind. I like to already have a number in mind. I know a lot of insurance adjusters, they have their number in mind. They have their max, they have their minimum, whatever it is. But I like to already have a number in mind. And there's some line items that I'm not going to concede to. And I'm not willing to concede to. And there's always going to be some line items in my estimate that I am willing to concede to. And those things change from claim to claim. So don't think that it's always going to be, I don't know, the 2 coats of paint instead of the 1 coat of paint, or if it's going to be to detach and reset something as opposed to replace it. It changes from claim to claim because a lot of times it depends on how much it's worth too. Like if it's worth like granite countertops, if it's just too much and you cannot take that out of your estimate because it's going to affect your estimate tremendously, you know, that could be a problem when you're trying to get to a number that your client is happy with. So know what you're trying to accomplish. I also, from time to time, I'll I'll talk to my client before the negotiations even start, and I say, what's a number that you're happy with? And if there's a number that they're happy with that I think I can get to, then that's going to make your job much easier. Especially if you're just starting out, it's going to make your job much easier if, like I said, you get to a number that your client is happy with. Because frankly, that's just, I mean, to be honest, that's the ultimate goal, is obviously to get as much money as possible, but to make sure that you walk out with a happy client. I mean, your client, it's got to be a happy client. If your client's not happy, then you're not going to get any referrals from that client. So that's very important. Develop a game plan. Okay, you want to have a game plan in your negotiations. You know, how are you going to go about it? It all starts with putting together the estimate. You want to make sure that you put together things in your estimate that you could argue, that you're going to have a good argument for. And there may be some things in your estimate that are going to be a long shot, but put it in there, and then make sure that you have a game plan going in. So the way I like to set up a game plan is I just like to be ready. Make sure that you're ready for the negotiations, because if you're not ready and you're not really sure what's on your estimate, or you're not really sure why you put that in your estimate, well, that's not good. You know, you want to make sure that you're ready. So before I walk into not so much the initial inspection, but I would say mostly the appraisal and the umpire inspection, you got to be ready to go. You got to be ready to go. Make sure that you have your estimate printed out, or at least, you know, I guess in an iPad, ready to go. And make sure you have the opposing arguments estimate, the opposing adjuster's estimate, and just be ready. Be ready for what you're going to be arguing. I mean, I like to prepare usually the night before, get everything printed out, get everything ready, look at the numbers, maybe look at my bottom line, maybe have a number in mind, what I'm looking for. I'll go through my estimate. Not so much. I'll go through their estimate, and I'll take a look at the stuff that they missed. You know, they didn't put this, they didn't put this, they didn't put this. That's what I usually do. So I want to make sure that, hey, look, this should have been in there, that should have been in there. And then I may go through mine, and maybe I'll take away some stuff that I'm willing to concede to. And I'll go through it. And I have no problem having that game plan set so that in the course of the appraisal, when we're at the inspection or at the appraisal inspection and we're going through stuff, it's not bad to tell the appraiser, look, here's what's on my estimate that I'm willing to concede to. I'm willing to concede to, I don't know, let's say permits. I'm willing to concede to the countertops. I'm willing to concede to whatever it is. I'm willing to concede to these things. Those things total this number, and that's the number that I'm looking for. And hopefully that's the number that the other person can get to. So that's the game plan I'm talking about. Go through your estimate, go through the previous adjuster's estimate, and have a game plan ready to go of the stuff that you are hard lined on, that you need in there, and the stuff that maybe you'd be willing to concede to. That's my strategy. So another one that I think is understand who you're negotiating with. So I've told you guys before about the book Never Split the Difference. Great book. So here's what it looks like. It's by Chris Voss. And what I mean by understand your counterpart, he breaks it down into 3 kinds of personalities. Okay, are you ready? And these 3 kinds of personalities is basically who you're going to be negotiating up against, and also it's you. So understand what kind of personality you are and what kind of personality you're going up against. Because you'll be able to sort of know, first of all, being aware is number 1, but you'll be able to know what your strengths and what your weaknesses are, so you could avoid your weaknesses and you could sort of attack their weaknesses, you know what I'm saying, and maybe feed into your strengths too. So you could Google this. So I'm gonna break it down a little bit here, but you could Google Never Split the Difference personality types, and you'll find there's an article that I actually got this from. I read the book, but I got this also just to give you a bit of it. So there's assertive, analyst, and accommodator. Okay? The assertive kind of person is a person that doesn't stop talking. They're always talking. They need to be heard. They want to always just get their voice, get their opinion across, get all their facts across. They don't really let you talk much, and they know it all, and they're going to say what they say, and that's pretty much it. They could be kind of a bullying type. They could be just very outgoing and eccentric. So that's the assertive. They're very... Their strength is that they are decisive, they're candid, and they're straightforward. One of the ways that you can deal with them, though, is with an assertive kind of person. If you're not an assertive kind of person, well, you need to be firm. You need to be firm and respectful, and but not defensive. But you need to be firm, okay? So if you are not this kind of personality and you go up against somebody who's an assertive kind of personality, and they're like time is money, and any kind of silence is a chance for them to talk more. So you need to be firm and you need to be respectful. And if you are able to provide a really good strategic concession, like a strategic strategy to come to an agreement, and you could really articulate your expectation, they might be willing to concede to some stuff as well. So the main thing when you have an assertive person, get that chest up, and you have to be somewhat assertive as well, but like I said, respectful. Obviously, they already have an assertive kind of personality, so too much from you could end up being combative. So just be firm and be respectful, and come up with a clear sort of strategy on how you guys can come to an agreement. So that's assertive. Analyst is another one. Analyst is your person who loves the facts. They've got all the facts. They got all the facts ready to go. These can be actually some of the easiest people that you can negotiate against if you provide them with facts. They're the kind of people that want to learn, and they're always taking in new information. They're going to come very prepared to the negotiation, which I guess could be a negative for you, but it can be a positive if you come prepared as well. If you could provide them with some new facts to make them really think about your stance, about your side, about your reasons, and about your arguments, you may be able to sway them a little bit towards what you're trying to get to. So that is the analyst. And then the last one is the accommodator. The accommodator is the kind of person who's just a nice, kind person. They're trying to sort of be friendly with you. They enjoy a little bit more of the small talk. They're trying to build a relationship with you. And these are the kind of people where if you're able to sort of also provide them with some good facts and, you know, be kind, be nice, be generous, these are the kind of people who are probably willing to concede a little bit more. So understand that. You know, don't feel bad about conceding or having them concede to you whatever you think is right. So so be friendly, but don't get stuck. Don't get stuck with these people with the small talk. That's another problem. Is you could be friendly, you could be nice, but don't get stuck talking about your kids, talking about the weekend, or talking about whatever. Try to keep the conversation focused on what you're trying to accomplish, and that's going to help you a lot. But you should be, with an accommodator, you could probably get a little bit more from an accommodator than from some of the other people. So not only are these people are you going to go against, not only are these types of personalities you're going to go against, but one of these three describe you. So beware, because that's just the way it is. So which one are you? Like I said, Google it. There's more that I have here. I just didn't want to be reading off this. Google, obviously you should buy the book. So shout out to Chris Voss. You wrote a tremendous book. And by the way, I heard he's got a master class. I'm thinking about maybe doing it. It's a master class on negotiating by Chris Voss, who's the writer of this book. He's a former hostage negotiator for the FBI. Pretty cool. But if you Google search "never split the difference" personality types, you'll see the brief description of all these personality types, which could help you. But I recommend reading the book because it breaks it down into a lot more detail. Another thing, I'll just stick with the never split the difference. Another thing that's never split the difference talks about, the gist of it, I would say, it's in the first quarter of the book. He talks about two things that really stand out for me. It's the DJ voice and it's mirroring. So the DJ voice is when you're speaking in facts and you're telling them how it is. And you're basically saying, well, these tiles need to be replaced. And since these tiles are going underneath the baseboards, you know very well that these baseboards are not going to be able to be detached and reset, because once you take off these baseboards, they're going to be unusable. I don't know, it's just one of the things. But it's like a lower DJ voice that I've sort of tried. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I found it interesting. It took me sort of to the end of the book to really understand it. So I use it a little bit more and more. Comment below if you've really tried it and if it's really been successful. The other thing is mirroring. Is if you take the last three words of somebody's sentence. So let's say, I don't think these baseboards need to be replaced. You don't think these baseboards need to be replaced? And like you repeat what they say in a question, force the person to speak a little bit more, where you may get them out of their position by speaking too much, and you may also find a little bit more of their strategy and what they're trying to get to help you sort of better frame your strategy and your argument. So you mirror them. It keeps people talking, and it's worked. That works. It gets people to sort of, I don't know, I guess talk themselves into a hole a little bit. So I would recommend the mirroring. But again, read the book because it talks about it a lot in that book. So the other thing is work towards a win-win. Work towards a win-win. Another thing I learned from a book a long time ago, back in the day, my dream was to become a sports agent. And I read a book by Leigh Steinberg, book, who everybody says they made Leigh Steinberg, they did Jerry Maguire off Leigh Steinberg. And he wrote a book, let's see, Winning with Integrity. Okay, Winning with Integrity. He wrote a book called Winning with Integrity. I read this book while I was in college because I wanted to be a sports agent, and it's all about negotiation. Well, he is more of an accommodator, if you want to look at personality types, and he basically talks about every negotiation should be a win-win. It should not be a winner and a loser, because what you do is you create animosity from one side or the other. And in his line of work, which is somewhat like our line of work, is he was negotiating with NFL teams. He was an NFL sports agent. And he knew that these guys that he was negotiating up against, from the Cardinals, the 49ers, whatever franchise, he was going to have to negotiate with those exact same people the following year or with another one of his clients. So he wanted to be the agent where he was obviously all about his clients, like Jerry Maguire was, but who negotiated on their behalf, but also to try to come to a resolution where both sides were sort of happy with the agreement. They're happy with their player, player's happy with the amount of money they got, and the agent is just happy making the deal. I think that's a great strategy for insurance claims, because like I said, we're going to see a lot of these people. I mean, the appraisal and the umpire world is a small world, at least here in Florida, and I'm sure it's like that, even smaller in some of your states. So, you know, winning with integrity, just try to come up with a win-win and don't have any animosity. Come up with your arguments, and you'll be surprised. You're going to get to where you want to. So that's another great book. It's an older book, but it worked out. It's worked out for me. I really enjoyed it. And that's going to get me to another book called Getting to Yes. So Winning with Integrity leads me to Getting to Yes, because in the book Getting to Yes, which is by, I don't know, I'll put it down here. I'll put it like right around here. He talks about finding a common interest, okay? And I like to use this with the adjusters, especially the desk adjusters. God, you desk adjusters, if you're a desk adjuster listening to this, you guys are very difficult. But anyway, that's another video for another day. You try to remind them that your best interest, whether you're representing the insurance company or whether you're not representing the insurance company, it should be in your best interest for the insured, no matter what, no matter whose side you're on, because your goal is to try to get them the money that they need to put their house back together again. And if you're an honest and truthful public adjuster who's just trying to do the same, well, the two of you, we could find a common interest, okay? And it's in resolving this insured's issues with the damage that they have in their home. So if you could remind them of that, I have felt that sometimes that goes a long way. Describe your arguments in detail. Make sure you break it down, especially if it's by email, and you'll be surprised. You're going to get to resolutions that you're going to be happy with. Let's see. That's pretty much it. Remember that it takes two parties to negotiate and renegotiate a deal. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I would say are very important in the negotiating process. I've run on for quite a long time here now. Just trying to see if there's anything else. I mean, preparation and planning is also very important, but I've already sort of gone through that. That's pretty much it. I'm going to say that's good. When you're just starting out, don't worry, guys. Obviously, I feel negotiating is a win-win, but you're going to lose, okay? It's going to happen, all right? I think one of the most important things is to give your client realistic expectations. So even if you have an estimate for $100,000, but you know deep inside that it's not going to get to $100,000, you need to give your client some realistic expectations. When you've been doing this for a while and you've been putting together estimates, you're going to have an idea of how much you're going to negotiate for on your estimates. It could be a percentage, it could be whatever it is, but you need to stay true. If you have an estimate for $100,000, there should not be any fluff in there, but there should be some room for you to negotiate. But I think the most important thing is to keep your clients realistic, have their expectations sort of where they're supposed to be and not above and beyond. And you're going to be fine. You're going to be okay. Because you tell them right off the bat sort of how it is and sort of what you expect. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to leave me a message. I'll be glad to help you. But I think that's it. I don't want to keep you guys here for too long. So as I end every video, please subscribe right here, right here. Let me do this one. Subscribe. Okay, if you could please subscribe. We're doing pretty good. We're getting a lot of subscribers, so I might start trying to come out with an extra video every once in a while. I really want to do that. It's hard to find the time sometimes, but thank you all for, I just want to thank you all for subscribing to the channel, for watching it, for all the positive comments. I mean, it's like awesome. It inspires me. Your positive comments inspire me to continue making these videos. So I hope you got something out of the negotiating. We'll get into a little bit more detail in later videos. I mean, whatever, we'll see. But in the meantime, subscribe, get on my Facebook page, Instagram page, share the stuff if you can, and that's it. I guess we'll see you on the next video. So goodbye now.